Okay, thanks very much. So until 3 hours ago, I'd managed to keep my role as working behind the scenes as a member of the CAC and the admin team for conference. So I'll do my best as third choice, but ask for your patience. This political statement was written by a number of members of the NEC, but largely by Mick Brooks. I'd like to add my thanks to Mick, as well as wishes for a speedy recovery. So since we all last met at LRC conference in February 2019, the world has changed overwhelmingly. This has included a number of significant setbacks, but also among these there have been encouraging glimpses of a future for which we can build and must build. So our speakers have covered many of these issues. These are issues that the LRC has to focus on and support, and in some cases take a lead. So firstly, let's be very clear. If there was any doubt that we as socialists are now obviously and firmly part of the opposition, of course, to this toxic, incompetent, self-serving Tory government, and also part of the opposition and resistance within the Labour Party. I personally remember Starmer's rally in Oxford, where his well-rehearsed script contained absolutely no passion or policy, but repeated the words unity and justice in every paragraph. The decisions he's made so far have peeled away that thin veneer of so-called unity on which he based his leadership campaign, and demonstrate what we all here knew, but others were taken in by, that Starmer's victory was a victory for the establishment. We've seen the appointment of David Evans as General Secretary with his edicts regarding what we can and can't discuss as members and CLPs, the escalation of the witch hunt, the weak responses to the alleged revelations in the leaked report, and broken promises. These are Starmer's election campaign promises around economic justice, climate justice, promoting peace and human rights, strengthening workers' rights and trade unions. All of those were broken almost immediately he took over as leader. So what was the internal opposition to Corbyn has now taken over the leadership of our party. On the day after we suffered the general election defeat last December, the LRC NEC met to discuss our response to the immediate challenges this would pose, knowing also that we had to prepare for circumstances, developments, and events that we just couldn't predict and just had to be prepared for. Now we've seen these events unfolding, some unexpected, many disastrous. The pandemic, racist murders, the erosion of workers' rights, and the effects of 10 years of austerity on our public services, particularly our NHS, highlighted, of course, by the impact of the pandemic. Yet out of these, we've seen the potential for resistance, as John mentioned, through mutual aid groups, through the growth of national organisations such as ACORN, tackling issues of particular concern, and the increasing influence of NHS campaign groups, the growth of the Black Lives Matter movement, and also encouragingly seeing workers returning in their tens of thousands to trade unions and mobilising to protect their own health and that of their communities. So now is really the time to hold this toxic, inept government to account and to organise within the party and through our grassroots campaigning to demand better for the many, and to address the overriding issue, of course, of the threat to the very existence of our planet. There's no way we can achieve this only, or even primarily, through parliamentary activity, although that is a fight we have to wage. We must look outside to the trade unions and wider movements, as well as the campaigns that have been mentioned. As a start, and to build on the debates at our last conference, the LRC has joined with JVL, Red Labour, the FBU and Bakers Union to form the Don't Leave Organised Network, encouraging members to stay in the party and fight for our socialist principles. Our first national campaign, Full Sick Pay Now, is being covered in The Guardian next week prior to our Zoom launch rally next Wednesday. We heard from Andrew that Momentum has a new NCG, and following their recent election results, the LRC NEC unanimously voted to re-affiliate and support them in their efforts to shift the culture to more member-led campaigning and decision-making. It was great to hear Andrew outlining the plans for this, together with campaign priorities for Momentum and building a healthy, vibrant, radical socialist left, which Andrew said, and I'm sure we all agree with. There are many moving pieces, and when the LRC NEC political statement was published, this was a number of weeks ago, it was with the caveat that since events are developing very rapidly, the NEC recognises the need to submit supplementary statements to the NEC, to the AGM nearer the time. The CAC received 2 such amendments in time and in good order, and the LRC NEC supports both of these. One covers the Black Lives Matter movement, as Nadia, Roger, and others covered so powerfully. The other is that all of us who consider ourselves on the left should join together in our campaigning and demands. Over the coming months, the incoming NEC will build a clear programme of activity based on the principles of the statement, whilst taking into account developments as they arise. We agree that this statement isn't perfect, and we will sharpen that up and take out priorities as the NEC meets. We know this is a moment of truth for the LRC. We must and can be more effective. The Labour Party is, we are told, under new management. Well, let's see. We need to reach outwards to the broader movements of resistance and bring the pressures of class struggle into our party and all our campaigning, because that is what the fight has to be, inside and outside the party. It is class struggle against the establishment that did everything they could to undermine Jeremy and the entire left. So we have a fight on our hands, and together with our many allies, we are determined to build the resistance and be at the forefront of all these struggles, supporting in terms of solidarity, as well as concrete actions. As Laura says, we must be more ambitious, more brave, and more organised. Thank you.